Hello again, this is Keith Slough with Ambassador Christian College. I've talked a lot about the 40th Jubilee that's coming up. We know it is coming up, but we don't know the exact year that it's coming up. Now, I've been telling our students, and we are now in our 22nd year here at Ambassador Christian College, I've been telling them that in all likelihood, the 40th Jubilee is the year 2031. Now, we don't know the exact year, but some have said it would be 27 perhaps, and I've been saying for years, no, that's probably not the exact year when that's going to happen. Well, why is that even important? Because the Jews have a legend, may be true, may not be, that the Messiah, whoever he be, and they don't know that it's Jesus, but they do believe there is a Messiah coming, and they say when he comes, it will be in a Jubilee year. He will set up his kingdom in a Jubilee year. Well, there have been 39 Jubilees since the time of Christ, and Alfred Edersheim, who was Jewish and then later became Christian, and others, I don't know how many different others have said that, and I believe Edersheim was one of them, who said that the Messiah came at the time when there was a Jubilee. So he started his ministry in 27 and went to 31. All right, here's the reason I'm bringing this up. I have been telling people, and those of you who watch our regular Saturday morning broadcasts, or not broadcasts, but our live streaming, I've been telling people that the next Jubilee will be number 40, and I think it's the year 2031. It may or may not be that exact year. But if the Messiah does come in a Jubilee, there has to be a 7-year period before it. Now, I know Seventh-day Adventists, and there are other cults also, who say, no, Jesus fulfilled the first half of that 7-year period. No, he didn't. That is a utterly false teaching. It is utterly false. Let me show you from Daniel chapter 9. He did not fulfill that. The Antichrist fulfills that whole 7-year period, not Jesus. He did not fulfill a 3.5-year period. Well, there was a 3.5-year ministry, but that did not fulfill the first half. Now, I can prove that to you very easily. And the point I want to make is that when Jesus does come back, we want to make sure that we're ready, because the tribulation could literally begin in 3 years from now. It could. Now, let me show you what I'm talking about. Matthew 24, verse 15, Jesus said, when you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet. Then if you're on the housetop, don't come down. You know the rest of it. Flee. If you're out in the field, don't come back. Run, flee, get out of there. Kind of as an aside, he didn't say, don't worry about it, you won't be here. You'll be in heaven. No. He said, when you see it. And he's talking to disciples. Now, those disciples are all dead. They lived 2,000 years ago. But the disciples living at the time of the end, who will be alive, will see the abomination of desolation. Let me tell you how this is. Did Jesus fulfill the first half of that 70th week? There are 70 weeks. A week is 7 years in prophecy, and I don't have time to explain all that again. But here's what it says. We have to start at verse 26 of Daniel 9. It talks about after 62 weeks added to the 7 you have in the previous verse, Messiah would be cut off. Jesus died at the end of that 69th week of years. And the people of the prince, the word prince there, if you look in the margin, it says the beast. Your Bible might say Antichrist or something like that. That shall come will destroy the city. Now the people of Jesus didn't destroy the city. It was the people of Rome and the sanctuary, which was the temple. And that was destroyed in AD 70. And the end thereof shall be with the flood, and unto the end of the word desolations that are determined. Now here's the verse we wanted to come to. And he. Now anybody who's had 5th grade English knows what a noun and a pronoun is. And the antecedent, and you learn this like in 5th grade English, the antecedent to a pronoun is the noun for which it stands. Remember learning that in the 5th grade? The pronoun simply stands for the noun. The noun is the antecedent for which the pronoun stands. It says, and he. This is not talking about the Messiah. And he, the prince that shall come, as my margin here says, the beast, shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. The covenant that Jesus brought is everlasting, not 7 years. Now, if you read this, and I have a Jewish translation at home, the literal rendering is, and he shall confirm a covenant. And they add the word firm. He shall confirm a firm covenant. This is not Christ. This is the Antichrist. And in the midst of the week, he, the Antichrist, will cause the sacrifice and oblation to cease. Oblation means offering. Jesus said, don't think I've come to destroy even the least jot or tittle. A jot is the least letter in the Hebrew alphabet. And the law, of course, is written in Hebrew back in Exodus law from Genesis all the way through Deuteronomy, the law of Moses, which Moses wrote. It's God's law that Moses wrote down. The Jews call it the law of Moses. Jesus didn't cause the sacrifice and oblation to cease. This jackass is going to do this. I'm serious. This guy, this jerk is going to cause the sacrifices to cease. But here's the thing. He can't do that until they're restarted. They're going to be restarted. And it's in the midst of a week of 7 years. After 3.5 years, he'll cause this sacrifice and oblation to cease. And for the overspreading of abominations, he will make it desolate until the consummation, until the time of the end. And that deterrent shall be poured out upon the desolator. Now, here's what I want to point out. I was telling people to watch for the year 2024 because it's very possible if the year 2031 is the 40th Jubilee, and if Jesus comes back. I'm not setting dates, I don't know. But if Jesus did come back in the year 2031, there has to be that 7-year period beforehand. Now, the day of the Lord is going to take up about a year, we think, from Isaiah 61 and other verses. But here's what I want to point out. They had to offer the ashes of the red heifer first. And you're already familiar that in the year 2022, they had 5 red heifers that qualified to be offered as the red heifer. And after that, I think 2 of them were disqualified. And then they said there were 3 that were still left, and they only need 1, a red heifer. And they were going to offer it up in October of last year. Not this year, but in 2023. As soon as the Arabs got wind of that, they started the war. And they said, the Muslims acknowledged and confessed that the reason they started the war on October 7th of last year was because of the red heifer. They considered that to be military aggression, because once the red heifer was sacrificed, then they could go and take over the Temple Mount and build the temple. And that's why they started the war. That's what they say. All right, now here's what the Jews said. They had to offer the red heifer after it was 2 years old. Those red heifers, all being the same age, became 2 years of age in October of last year. But they have to offer it before it becomes 3 years of age, which means that if they were going to offer any one of those 5, they had to be offered before October of 2024. Are you getting this? Now, I'm saying that they could have done it secretly. They could have already offered it. And what was it, 2 years ago, I think? I believe it's 2 years ago. Benjamin Netanyahu segregated a certain part of the Temple Mount just for Jewish usage. And they've had the altar built for 4 or 5 years, the one they're going to be using. Because I read about that several years ago. The final altar has been built. They are ready to go. Maybe they are doing it in secret. Nowhere does the Bible say they have to announce to the entire world that they're going to be offering up these sacrifices. They may be offering what the Bible calls the daily sacrifice. They may be doing it now. Chapter 12 of Daniel, I'm out of time here, but chapter 12 of Daniel talks about verse 10, many will be purified and made white. Verse 11, from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that makes desolate. So from that time, the abomination of desolation is probably what causes the Jews to stop offering up the daily sacrifice. And it tells you what's going to happen. So we have a 3.5 year period after that, and that's the time Jesus said in Matthew 24, verse 29, verse 15. He said the abomination of desolation then introduces verse 21, the Great Tribulation. What I'm saying is this: there was probably a red heifer offered already before this past October. I'm saying that it's very possible they could be offering up daily sacrifices, but they're doing it surreptitiously. And you might say, but wait a minute, they haven't built the altar yet. Go back and read the book of Ezra. They don't have to have the altar actually built to offer up the daily sacrifice. Go back and read the book of Ezra. They'll explain it to you. Now, they're going to offer up, they're going to rebuild a temple in which to offer up the sacrifices, but they don't have to have one. The 7-year period could have already started, which means we've only got 3 more years before the world's greatest tribulation, modern English, World War III, begins. And you and I must be Philadelphians, because if we are not Philadelphians, we're going to bust the tribulation wide open, and we're going to be seeing people starving to death and sickness and all kinds of stuff. And you won't be able to buy or sell anything, not even medicine, if you don't take the mark of the beast. And then read Revelation 14, what happens to people that take the mark of the beast. I'm out of time, but be with us again this coming Saturday at 10:30, live, via live stream, 10:30 every Saturday morning. And if you miss it, it's archived and you can watch it. And tell your friends about these Monday and Thursday evening sermonettes that I give. Be with us this coming Saturday, 10:30 Eastern Time.